All right, let's get an update from our Errol Barnett. He's on the phone. He's traveling from South Carolina to Georgia. Errol, South Carolina's governor has urged 500,000 people to evacuate, but as of this morning, fewer than half of those people left their homes. What have you been seeing on the roads today?
That's right, Vlad. As I drove into Charleston yesterday, it seemed as though a fair amount of people were trying to get out of town. The I-26, which is the main corridor from Charleston to Columbia, seemed packed. And it's exactly why state troopers reverse traffic on the eastern portion of it. So as it stands right now, that is a 100-plus mile stretch of highway with 6 lanes heading in a single direction. Again, making the point that they want residents along the coast to take this threat seriously. They want them to get to higher ground and avoid what could be, what will be a very damaging weekend and could be deadly. When we spent time in historic downtown Charleston, we saw businesses boarding up. One of them has been family-owned since 1890, and they haven't had to take precautions like this for 10 years. So part of the issue is this part of the state hasn't been hit by a powerful hurricane in some time, and they're fighting against complacency. But they're doing what they can to at least have people in place. More than 1,100 National Guard troops I've seen posted around the city and the state. They've deployed more than 300, a fleet of 300 school buses to get people who don't have vehicles to safety, and they'll be shuttled to some 30-plus shelters all over the state. The big concern with this in South Carolina is that right now it's under a hurricane watch, so they have this last little window of time to get people to safety. The concern, though, is the topography, because they call the coastal part of South Carolina low country. And if they do get the worst-case scenario, these kind of 6 to 8 feet of storm surge coming in or 8 to 12 inches of rain, they could see a situation where you have not just the down power lines and lack of electricity and tree damage, but you could get flooding as well. And so people in the coastal areas could very well be stranded, and it would be very difficult and life-threatening for first responders to get to them. In fact, just as I was leaving Charleston, I saw the fire department in downtown Charleston boarding up. And so when you see the first responders hunkering down, trying to get out of the way, you know it's time to leave. That's the message the governor is trying to spread right now.
We know the governor, too, going to hold another press conference, it looks like, later on this evening around 6 o'clock, probably going to be talking about those kinds of things. Sometimes when there hasn't been a storm in a long time, people do heed the warnings. It sounds like that's what you're seeing there. But I want to ask about Georgia, because evacuations have been ordered there as well. What have you learned about their preparations? They haven't had to deal with this in quite some time. When you're talking about places like Savannah.
Exactly. Jamie, it's interesting because South Carolina deployed its emergency response before Georgia did, perhaps trying to be extra safe, extra secure, taking that risk that, hey, even if it goes Hurricane Matthew out the Atlantic, we will have better been safe than sorry. Just today, Governor Deal here in Georgia declared the coastal areas to be evacuated. That was mandatory. It now impacts some 50,000 people. And again, the concern is the topography here in Georgia. Because Hurricane Matthew is coming up south from Florida, they saw the damage it did in Haiti, to Jamaica, and to Cuba. They see the winds picking up in Florida. And the coastal parts of Georgia right now are under a hurricane watch, meaning that storm, the winds, and the rain is much more imminent than for South Carolina. Governor Deal is expected to hold a number of press conferences today. He wants everybody east of the I-95, which, as you know, is that major highway that takes you from Boston to Florida. He wants everyone east of that in Georgia to be evacuated, and it's estimated that that impacts some 50,000 people. I'm at this moment driving along the I-95. It's kind of the major hurricane evacuation route, but I can tell you along the coastal areas, it's sparsely populated. As I was driving, I had a text alert come through on my phone and another one come through on the radio saying hurricane warning, move to higher ground. So they're doing what they can in this state to get the message out that you need to move away from the coastal areas. These are swamplands. These are areas that are very low-lying and can flood easily, stranding people. That's the risk, and they want to avoid that as much as possible right now.
Yeah, the message is out. Hopefully people listen. Errol Barnett, thank you so much.